Welcome to another episode of Tales of the Mitt. This is your host, Bloodbeard, and we have Nathan from Throne with us tonight. Welcome, Nathan.
How's it going?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Nathan?
We're ready to rock and roll this weekend.
Me too. And, I think it's always important to start these things with the beginning. I'm always curious, how did Throne get started?
Well, I used to be in a localized band here back in the day called Once We Were Buried. And my drummer, Colin, and Les and all them used to go to the high school, Northwest High School out here, and they'd always come and watch that band play. And I was around 2009-ish, so that's how I kind of met Colin and Les. And fast forward about a year or two after that, my band Winterus, which used to be called The Ancient, we used to play with Colin and Les. Colin and Les actually joined Winterus after me and my previous drummer, Cody, left the band to go join the band that I was in for about 7 years called Sunlight's Bane. And then, other bands back and forth. And then, me and Colin kind of crossed paths. And then we started jamming in various other acts. And then Les got brought on board. We decided that, hey, let's try and do this death metal thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been doing Once We Were Buried was kind of like a death metal-y, deathcore-ish band. And then Winterus and The Ancient was more centered around black metal, but
okay, it
was kind of like what Throne sounds like now, but it was way more black metal oriented than death metal. And so I kind of wanted to do more of a death metal thing, and I had a thing for doing vocals. I wanted to do vocals. Any band I was in, the most vocals I ever did was maybe some backing vocals here and there.
Sure.
And but I always had a really loud voice. I could project my voice pretty loudly. And I was like, you know what? I want to do vocals.
Yeah.
But, I always wanted to play guitar too, so I had to really teach myself how to do both.
Right.
Which was kind of tough.
I bet.
But, so, around 2014 was about when Throne we started practicing and, doing everything. But that was right in the midst of my marriage. So my marriage was kind of going downhill, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So I had to leave the band because my other band, Sunlight's Bane, we were playing really actively, and I did a tour in England with them and everything, and so I was like, okay, guys, I can't do this. I gotta, fix my marriage, which ended up failing miserably. I got divorced in 2016, and then after that, I came back to them and said, hey guys, I don't have the baggage anymore. Let's keep going. So we hit the ground running there, 2016, and so it was me and Les and Colin for about a year and a half. I wrote Altar of the Dying, Not a Sad Nor Fog with them by myself. And we didn't get Joe until about the summer of 2017. And once Joe joined the band, we got the whole band locked in, practiced for a couple months, and then Clint Harkness, who was in Graveleech at the time, booked us to play that show that you saw us cover Death at, and then that was it. And then it's been history ever since.
Yeah, I remember that show. That was a fun show. I think that was actually was that at Max Bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember that was a night that I went to Max Bar and the Loft in the same night because I love doing that in Lansing where I go to two shows in one night. And that's
pretty popular in Lansing from what I hear.
It's so easy too because every venue is a few miles down the road from each other, so you just hop in one car and go down to the next one, find free parking somewhere, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
So
because the Loft is only a half a mile up the road from Max Bar, isn't it?
Yeah. It's actually it's 7/8 of a mile. It's
and the avenue is right over there too.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so it's boom, boom, boom. You're in the little tri-venue area. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's a beautiful thing. So, on the path to the throne, as it were, you had a lot of bands, a lot of actually kind of, I want to say long band names, multi-word band names, and then now it's just one word. It's Throne. How did you come up with Throne as your band name?
It's a lot of the big death metal acts, a lot of the famous death metal acts are usually one word. suffocation, immolation, incantation, death, obituary. You know what I mean? So I wanted, the list keeps going on and on and on. But I wanted to have, a really powerful name that's just one word, easy to remember. And when you hear it, you're just like, oh shit, this band, they sound like they're, they might be, pretty intimidating or might be really heavy. So Throne was, I wanted it to kind of sound like medievalish, but also, not over the top, but almost kind of give it like a Black and Death feel. But so Throne was like the band name that really stuck out to me. Came up with a couple others, but it was like, though that I didn't like that one. No, that one seems too long, whatever. So boom, nice and easy, one word, easy to remember, good to go.
Absolutely. And it's a name that I've been seeing on a lot of shows around here, around Detroit. You've been playing with some bigger bands too lately. I was wondering who's been the most fun to play with? Who's been your favorite to play with?
That's a tough question. We've played with a ton of bands already. It's been a little overwhelming. Yeah. Since we've only been around for about 2 years. Well, being active for 2 years. I think the funnest show for me personally was the show that we opened for Revocation Exhumed in Rivers of Nile at the Loving Touch in Ferndale. Yeah. That show was awesome. Yeah. And we've opened for Tomb Mold, we've opened for Exhumed a couple times. We've played with WADA. But the biggest show, Summer Slaughter was pretty fun. It was a really weird bill for us, but everyone seemed to enjoy it. But the biggest show that we have coming up is opening for At the Gates at Sanders Hall on the 8th. Yes, yeah. So that's going to be wow. Sick. Because Sanders Hall is a venue. I've seen so many bands there, and it was like, and I never thought in a million years I would really see At the Gates, right. Let alone play with them, and let alone play with them at Sanders Hall. Right. So it's just like it's a pretty mind-blowing experience for me. Yeah. So
no, I've seen At the Gates only once before, and it was at St. Andrews Hall, and that was insane. It was that Behemoth, At the Gates, and Wolves in the Throne Room show.
Yeah, yep, I remember that show, that tour.
That was such a stacked bill. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we very excited.
Speaking of October, as of today, it is officially October. It's October 1st. And I was wondering, do you do anything to observe the spookier of the months?
I'm kind of pretty laid back about it. Like, I don't really get really super involved in Halloween or anything, but I am a huge avid horror fan.
Is that so?
I'm not super huge to the point where I don't go to all the conventions and stuff like that, but I do have a pretty decent horror movie collection, and I do like blood and guts and all that kind of stuff. So,
would you say that's where you lean more with horror movies? Is the bloodier and the gutsier?
Yeah. I love the Hatchet films, and I do like some of the Saw movies, but I like. The Blob from 1980s Blob, and I love The Thing and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, of course.
Halloween. Yep.
Well, that's awesome. I do the same thing. I know for me, I always say I want to try to watch 31 horror movies in the month of October. Some people do it. They make a list, they plan it out, and they commit to that plan. Me, I just fly by night, and I don't end up doing it. I try. I maybe get to 15, 18 in a month.
I don't even think I get that many.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, well. I've noticed on your social media and even on your shirts, there's this recurring phrase, keep it death metal. What do you mean by that? Do you think people aren't keeping it death metal? They're not keeping it? They're throwing it out?
Okay, this precursors back to the 2007 through 2009 era of, because the bands that used to, bands like Whitechapel and Suicide Silence and everything, they would take these shirts and then they'd put this big saying on the back of it. You know what I mean? Like big, huge words, just whatever's what it said, what says whatever it says, fuck you, bitch, or whatever. Like, because they wanted to be edgy back then,
No, I get you. I get you.
Yeah. But so I tried to replicate that idea, but with more obviously more of a truer metal angle with it. So I was like, it's almost kind of a keep calm and whatever.
Yeah.
Shirts, you've seen those.
Yeah.
But it's like I wanted something catchy so everyone would kind of like know that it revolves around Throne, like a saying that someone could say, like if they see us like at a show or something, they yell "keep it death metal" type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
it's like a catchy phrase,
right? That's
related to us.
Yeah.
And I came up with that, and because I know because back in the day, back in 2007, 2009, shirts that had words on the back of it were extremely popular. You can move them to anybody. Like they were like, oh, that's fucking sweet. They get to read the back of my shirt, yada yada. It's a good merchandising price point.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really clever saying. So we ran with it, and it's caught on, and everyone seems to like it, and I'm really happy that it caught on.
That's a good point, because I never really thought of it that way, but I think some of the more memorable shirts, I buy a lot of merch, but a lot of the shirts that I've seen that I get or my friends get, it's the back that we always like somehow that's the sticking point in the memory. Like
oh yeah, absolutely.
My friend's got a shirt, I think it's a Rob Zombie shirt, and on the back of it it says "Say You Love Satan." And that shirt has gotten him into so much like whatever over the years, because like he was at a Taco Bell once and some man of the cloth came up behind him and was like, "Sir, do you really mean, like, do you really want me? Are you asking me to say that I love Satan?" And he was, just trying to like test him, like, are you committed to what's on the back of your shirt? And
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's just crazy. But like, yeah, there's something about like the back of a shirt that sticks it to people. Like if you can read this, turn me right side up, or like whatever, just
right. Yeah, absolutely. And another shirt that where kind of what this idea came from is the classic "Cradle of Filth, Jesus is a cunt" on the back of it.
Yes. Yes.
Like that's like, to me, that's like the ultimate back of a shirt printing. You know what I mean? Like it just says Jesus is a cunt on the back. It's like, it's completely over the top.
No,
but like,
I get,
know what I mean?
Yeah,
That right there. Yeah.
For me, my favorite back of the shirt has got to be Genesiah's "Ugly Music Played by Ugly People," because
of course
it lays out the principle there, but it also, to me, and it gave me a principle that I look for in music still to this day. If I see a band and like there's 4 people in that band, I feel like statistically one of them should be ugly. And if none of them are ugly, I'm automatically suspicious. This is an industry plant. They're not people making music out of passion. They're playing music to make money, and I'm on guard immediately. I need to see the ugly people so I know that it's like, or at least something like, I don't know, just somewhat, you got to be ugly, otherwise I can't take you seriously.
Right. So I guess I'm going to take over the interview and ask you the one question: who's the ugly one in my band and Throne?
Well, if you have to ask, Nathan.
Oh damn! All right. You got me. I'm the ugly one in the band.
I'm sorry. You can't walk into it like that. So you're the front man of a band named Throne. I feel like you got to have good opinions on seats, or maybe you have a good armchair at home that you're very proud of, because at this point, I feel like you've got to have taken that mentality of Throne and put it into other aspects of your life, right?
Not really, but
really?
The idea behind the name Throne was more or less obviously medieval, or you're sitting on a throne, like owning a kingdom, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like the premise behind the name.
Now, have you thought about expanding it? Because I know like some people who are really into sporting events and they're watching it at home, they have that special chair, they call it the throne. I think I've heard my father refer to the toilet as the throne every once in a while.
Porcelain throne.
The porcelain throne, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, not really. I mean, I don't really have like a seat that I prefer or anything like that. It's just sit wherever, you know what I mean?
All right. So, the Dark Art of Michigan is coming up this Saturday, October 5th, in fact, at the Avenue. And what are you excited for this time around?
I'm always excited to play shows, regardless if it's in front of 150, 300, 400, 500 people, or if it's a show in front of 5. I'm always excited to play. I always give 110% every time I'm on stage, regardless of who's watching. It doesn't even matter if no one's watching. You know, I'm always there. I'm excited to play in front of this crowd because it's a crowd that I don't think we've ever played in front of. We might have played in front of like some of the people that are going to be there, but like the crowd as a whole, it's going to be newer ears that are hearing us, you know, newer eyes on our merch, this, that, and the other thing, people that hear our music. So we're really excited about that. And obviously I like horror stuff, so that'll be cool to see all the, you know, the vendors that are there and all the art and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I think the Dark Art draws a pretty unique crowd. You get a good cross section of a bunch of different of groups that show up to this, and it's such a neat event. So what can fans expect from your set? You got any surprises up your sleeve or?
Not really. We have been playing a couple newer songs for the last 6-7 months. Mm-hmm. We're not really changing the setup too much. We don't want to really give away anything more from the new record.
Okay.
Until we release it, which hopefully when we get it finished, we've got about 1 or 2 more songs to write and get into the studio sometime in the beginning of next year, hopefully.
Awesome.
But it's pretty much going to be mainly Alter the Dying stuff with a couple new songs. So,
well, I'll be excited to hear it. I'll be excited for that new album too.
We are very excited.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time, Nathan, and we look forward to seeing you October 5th.
All right, man. Thank you.